What's up, family? Welcome back to the channel. I want to thank y'all for almost 300 subscribers. The channel is growing fast and y'all have been very positive in the comments. I just want to tell y'all I appreciate y'all, and I'm gonna keep this content coming, man, as long as I'm breathing and the wind is pushing me in my back. But y'all know I just ended a series with weird and crazy TikToks, right? So I just wanted to give y'all something different. I'll come back with season 2 on that eventually, but I just wanted to give y'all a hint of something different, and I'm gonna try to push out these seasons, man, so it can be some type of organization on the channel, so when y'all go back and look at different things, you'll know exactly where to go and where to find it, man. But I ain't gonna hold y'all up, man. I'm gonna get straight to the reaction, bro, and let's get it. Y'all know I'm unbiased. I don't really go for all that fake stuff, but this is true crime, right? So it's true, so we're gonna see what type of commentary comes out of it. You feel what I'm saying? So let's get right to it, y'all.
Terrifying real footage of a group of men following a girl home.
Can't fucking open the damn door.
You know, I find it weird that any man would want to have that type of mindset to want to harm a woman. Bro, if she don't want you, bro, just move on. It's plenty of women out there. Like, who raised y'all, man?
Imagine getting arrested for having a child with a dead body. Jennifer Burrows is a 26-year-old who was working at a morgue when she was arrested after a DNA test proved her child's father was a dead body she was supposed to autopsy. But it actually gets worse from here, because while Jennifer was working as an assistant pathologist at the morgue, she had relations with more than 60 bodies, belonging to men aged 17 to 71 years old. She did this for 2 years until it led to the birth of her son. Her son's father was a 57-year-old veterinarian from Texas who passed away in a car accident in 2017. Jennifer was charged with 158 counts of indecent treatment of a corpse. Many psychologists and experts have debated why someone would do this. The reasons range from curiosity to severe mental illness. Some even believe Jennifer was suffering from psychosis. Alright, after all that, I don't really know how to end this video, so stay safe out there and follow for more.
Wait a minute. Wait. I'm throwed off now. How in the hell did she get the dead body to ejaculate? I thought once you gone, everything is gone. Maybe I'm wrong. Y'all get in the comments and let me know.
I just rang your doorbell because I have a couple questions for you. Are you sure? I just rang your doorbell because I have a couple questions for you. Are you sure? Are you positive? Are you sure? Are you absolutely certain? Yeah, can you hear me? What I'm looking for is for the girl that's in the house to come out here because I'm going to rape her and kill her. Can you have her open the door? I'm going to rape and kill the girl that's on the other side of this door when she lets me in.
Bro, you know what? I hate the fact that men and women are like in this battle. I don't know what it is, but I hate it. But when I see stuff like this, I kind of see why. And my thing with that is, bro, women, ladies, stay safe, man. But I understand why women are the way that they are about a lot of men, man. Because, man, there's some men out here that are absolute creeps. Like, I didn't get a chance to get into the creep part of being a man. I'm married now, so I don't know, bro. But I don't like that type of stuff, bro. I have a daughter. I have daughters. So my daughter's got to grow up in this world amongst dudes like this, or dudes who have children that are creating baby creeps. You get what I'm saying?
This corn star is a serious pedophile. And let me tell you, this story is going to disturb you. This is Bianca Binlas, otherwise known as her stage name Marsha May. So Bianca is an infamous corn star. Her videos have millions and millions of views. She's very mainstream, but she has been charged with some absolutely disturbing and disgusting things. So back in 2014, when this story takes place, she was a rising star in the industry, but let me tell you, that's when things took a dark turn. So in May of 2014, Bianca and two 18-year-old friends of hers, she was 21 years old at the time, were arrested. So according to authorities, these three picked up 3 underage girls who ranged in ages from 12 to 14 years old took them to a home in Miami, Florida, and had a party. According to authorities, the minors were then given booze and other illicit substances. They were fed to these children, and then Bianca and these 3 men had a party. The 13-year-old would later say that everybody was having with everybody there. And even more disturbingly, it was alleged that they were all filming this. Stupidly, she and the other 2 people that were involved in this horrific incident took to Instagram and posted videos and photographs with their victims. They all tried to make this seem like a completely innocent thing that they were taking a part in, but this was a disturbing pedophile incident with 3 underage girls. It was also discovered by the police that while the 3 victims were asleep afterwards, these people took zoomed-in videos of their private areas. So make no mistake, this was a complete pedophile incident. But for some reason, even after the arrest, trials, and everything, all 3 of these people were given probation. They never served any jail or prison time.
I wonder why. I really wonder why. I have a problem with that. I have a 14-year-old son. And we live in a world where we think only men can be pedophiles. But no, you are sadly mistaken, because we live in a world where anybody can be one. It's crazy out here. Keep them kids safe. Watch them. Monitor what they're doing on these social medias, y'all.
The Funky Town Killers might have another video, and I'm about to explain it. The video
Funky Town
begins in a
Killers.
well-lit white room with white tiles on the floor. The tiles look extremely identical to the ones in Funky Town. In the opening seconds of the video, one of the killers is holding up a still beating heart to the camera, and while this is happening, you can hear the cameraman laughing hysterically. And you then realize there are multiple cartel members in the room and there are 2 dead guys lying on the ground. After the opening seconds, the camera goes to one of the victims' corpses on the ground, and since there are 2 dead victims with their hearts ripped out of their bodies, there is literally blood everywhere. The camera then stays on one of the victims' bodies, and one of the cartel members then starts to behead him. And once the beheading was completed, the cartel members began to play soccer with the victim's head. The cameraman gets involved, and they all begin kicking the head around, having fun. They are laughing, cracking jokes, and it's absolutely sickening. Every time the head is kicked around, you see the blood trail it leaves behind on the white tiled floor. After this, they then pose with the head and hold it up to the camera. The camera then pans to the other victim's body on the floor, and you can see another cartel member dismembering the victim's arm. You see him slicing away with a knife. The camera then goes back to the other victim's body, and you can see that they removed one of his arms, and at this point, one of the cartel members gets down on his knees and begins having an arm wrestle with the severed arm of the victim, just laughing.
Oh, wow.
It's absolutely horrible and disturbing, and the video then concludes. Now, the video doesn't show the killings, but it's safe to assume they were carried out shortly before the video was recorded.
And just to think that these killers were somewhere in society operating like normal people. You just don't know. I don't like to pass judgment on people, but I trust no one. I trust no one. I give everybody respect, but I trust no one. Just because of the world. No offense to nobody, but it's just because of the world that we live in.
These girls are force-fed to be fat. They are taken to fattening farms in the middle of the desert, where they are fed the equivalent of 30 cheeseburgers a day. Obviously, these girls can't handle that amount of food. Like, look how small they are. So this happens. And if they refuse to eat, they are beaten. They also put illegal drugs in this food to make them gain weight faster. These girls are sent here by their parents. In this last 2 to 3 months. This all happens because here, girls get married like before they're 15. And the bigger the girl, the easier it is for them to find a husband. And obviously this is really important to their families, and so this is why their families send them here. And obviously force feeding people or trying to gain or lose weight really quickly is really dangerous for your health. So when this all happens, these girls get really, really sick. It's not only like headaches and vomiting, this increases their risk of developing really severe diseases. People from this camp have developed diabetes, heart disease, liver failure, kidney failure. And part of this is because of the extra stuff that they put in the food. Like, they're literally given animals steroids to get them to gain weight faster. Part 2 is already up. Follow my TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube for more if you like my content. It really helps when you interact.
You know, I'm gonna try to let these videos roll through, bro, but I just gotta say something about that. Although I don't agree with that, let's make that clear. I don't agree with that at all. No, cultures are cultures. They do different things, and we cannot pass judgment on these people people. They've been doing these things for thousands and hundreds of years. And here we are with our normal culture here in America or anywhere else, and we're trying to change what they do or make people look at what they do as wrong. You know, if people are taking their American culture daughters or any other culture daughters dare to get the same treatment as the daughters that were born there, then they're wrong. They should be jailed. That's how I feel. But not if they grew up there. Those people do their children like that. They start them from birth on up, you know. So yeah, I don't know, man. That's crazy. Y'all tell me what y'all think about that.
In 2005, this man would terrorize an entire community in Maine, and he's never been caught. In the sleepy town of Cape Elizabeth, this man, who became known as the Cape Intruder, began breaking into people's homes just to watch them sleep. The Cape Intruder would only break into homes where doors and windows were left unlocked, and he would never take anything or harm anybody, but he would just stand over the victims and watch them sleep. Some people would wake up to him standing over them, but he would always disappear before they could act. It left the entire town terrified and paranoid to go to sleep. It got to the point that there were so many break-ins that the community set up neighborhood watches to try and catch the man doing this. Victims came forward and worked with police to create this composite sketch. But the break-ins eventually stopped and the man was never caught. And to this day, the Cape Intruder is still out there.
Disturbing things said by serial killers.
Earth, would you have hurt those people? Why did you kill those people?
No comments. No comments. I cannot answer it at this time.
And that's why you killed them.
Right. Right. Not because I was angry with them, not because I hated them, but because I wanted to keep them with me.
Nonetheless, you killed 7 men.
Yes, you did.
I'm asking you what got you to kill the 7
men. And I'm
men.
telling you because the cops let me keep killing them, Nick. Don't you get it?
Y'all better listen to these serial killers. They ain't crazy. They know what they're doing. You better listen to them.
This cartel execution video that I'm about to explain might be the worst one out there. Before I begin, never go searching for this video. The video begins and you see the victim lying on the ground on his back with his hands tied and his shirt pulled over his head. He's surrounded by 3 to 4 cartel members, and one of the cartel members takes out a wooden stick or a plank and begins hitting the victim's feet with it. The video then skips and it shows the aftermath. His feet have been hit so hard by this blunt object that you can see blood leaking through his socks, and all throughout this you hear the victim's muffles of pain. The video then jump cuts again and they take the shirt off the victim's head and stuff his mouth with a gag. And at this point is where it gets truly disturbing. One of the cartel members takes a small knife and starts slicing off the victim's left ear. The sounds at this point are actually horrible. You can hear the victim trying to scream, but because he's gagged, it sounds like he's just snoring. And once the ear has been severed, they place it in his gagged mouth. The camera then pans to the victim's face, and despite the poor quality, you can still see the pain and fear in the victim's face. The video then jump cuts again, and the torture is not over. You see the cartel members hook up a car battery with some jump cables, and they then take the jump cables and electrocute the victim. They start by shocking his chest. You see the sparks flying and you hear the victim letting out grunts of pain. They do this several times and also electrocute his face, which is just awful. The video then jump cuts again and it shows the cartel putting the victim out of his misery. They behead him with a small knife that was used to cut his ear off. The victim is already dead at this point because they show you halfway through the dismemberment process, but it still shows them hacking and slicing away. The video then jump cuts again and it shows that the beheading has been completed, and in the final moments of the video, they take the victim's head and balance it on his chest so that they can capture some photos on their phone. And after this, the video concludes. This video is extremely graphic and I don't recommend you go searching for it.
Man, nobody deserves that. I don't care what they did. Then again, you know what? I don't know. Let me stay out of that. I ain't in it. I feel bad for the dude.
This woman created such disturbing videos that she was sentenced to 50 years in prison. This story is truly one of the worst things that I've ever covered here on TikTok, so if you have a weak stomach or you can't hear about animal cruelty, please keep scrolling. So this is Ashley Richards from Houston, Texas. In 2015, she pleaded guilty to 4 counts of producing and 1 count of distributing these disturbing videos. And once again, I'm going to warn you, you can keep scrolling at any time before we get into these details. So this all started in 2012 when PETA, or the group known as People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, contacted the Houston police about a video they had found online. This film was titled Ebony Kill Cat, and it depicted extremely sadistic and cruel acts being forced upon a kitten. So the police got into contact with the people from PETA, and they then sent them 20 additional videos. These videos depicted the sadistic torture of various animals, including kittens, a fish, pigeon, crayfish, mice, a rabbit, all being tortured with different things like high heels, knives, screwdrivers, and pliers. In the videos, the woman that appeared in them was wearing a Mardi Gras style mask, and she would talk suggestively to the people watching this torture. Yes, that meant that there were paying customers out there that were paying this woman to produce these absolutely horrific videos. I cannot share the details of some of these videos. You can actually find the information online through news articles, but I mean, I think I changed as a person after reading these articles. Eventually, though, the police were able to track Ashley's IP address, which led them to her suburban home in Houston. This is an example of one of the messages she shared with the client. I mean, just, ugh. That led them to Brent Justice and Ashley Richards. These were the two that were producing these videos and selling them on a website online. And Congress had recently passed a bill making this specific type of video.
Okay, but wait, they were selling them online, which means that there were sick people out there who actually wanted to buy this stuff. Wow, man.
Had recently passed a bill making this specific type of video material, otherwise known as crush, illegal. So thankfully they were arrested. Shockingly though, Brent Justice, after the trial, he was actually sentenced to 50 years in prison. Shockingly though, Ashley, the woman who actually carried out these acts on camera, was only sentenced to 10 years in prison. Now, personally, this is one of the most disturbing things I've ever read about, and I definitely think she should have been in prison for a lot longer, but that's the justice system.
Now that makes me wonder why she only got 10 years. What?
This terrifying video was caught on a Ring camera in Henderson, Nevada.
Help! Help me! Help me! Help me! Help! Help! Somebody help me! Help! Stop!
This is really scary. If anybody recognizes this couple, please contact the Henderson, Nevada Police Department immediately.
Wow, that's crazy, bro. Wow, I dread the day that I see something like that on my camera, man. And I got them all up around my house, bro.
This is maybe the scariest urban legend I've ever heard, and it ended up being true. Back in the 1970s, there was this terrifying fun house in Long Beach, California called The Laugh in the Dark. And there was always this urban legend that all the mannequins inside were fake, except for one. Also, mind you, this is what this week's episode is about, so if you don't want spoilers, just listen to the episode. This urban legend came to be because there was one mannequin inside that just looked wrong. All of the other ones looked fake, but this one in particular looked way too human. And a bunch of the kids also said the area that the mannequin was in just smelled really, really bad. So a few years go by, and one day a film crew comes in and is using Laugh in the Dark for a film set. The director's lining up a shot, and he just doesn't like the way this one mannequin looks in frame. So he goes over to a crew member and he's like, hey, can you just move this out of the shot? So the crew member goes over and starts moving the mannequin when its arm pops off. And inside of the mannequin's arm is human bone. The kids had been totally right. The mannequin was a mummified body. There's so much more to this story, like who the person was and how they got there, and I talk about the whole thing.
What? Man, some crazy stuff out there, bro. What?
So this is John Tay Collier and Eric Dodds, a TikTok couple who amassed over 800,000 followers before they were arrested for murder charges. So before their arrest, John Tay and Eric made dancing videos, relationship videos, and their account was taking off pretty quickly here on TikTok. I mean, even a quick glance at their account right now shows that they have videos with millions and millions of views. Yes, their account is still online. But on August 1st, 2022, local authorities responded to a report of shots fired in Rossville, Georgia. When authorities responded, they found Dakota Bradshaw shot to death inside of his own home. So there were actually 4 suspects in this murder, but recently these 2 were sentenced to lengthy prison terms. And I couldn't really find information on what the alleged motive would have been behind this murder, but their vehicles that they featured prominently in their TikTok videos were seen by multiple witnesses in the area of the crime right when it happened. You see, Dakota Bradshaw had been sitting near his window at his house when people shot through the window, killing him. And allegedly, the suspects were parked in Dakota's driveway and fled in a red pickup truck, a truck that belonged to these guys. Now, interestingly enough, Eric and John Tay's TikTok account is still actively posting, and they are posting tons of content about how these two are allegedly innocent. But the legal system didn't see it that way. You see, in June of this year, Eric Dodds was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. And John Tay Kavon Collier was found guilty of the murder charges, and he was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole. Now, I'm eager to find out more details behind this case, like why this happened, who exactly pulled the trigger. There's a lot of mystery surrounding this story, but I'll keep you guys updated if I find anything else out.
Never heard of them.
There is no way in 1,000 years you'd be able to guess what's happening in this photo. Yes, it does look like the apartment of a former frat boy who can't decorate, but it's actually a still from the most evil reality television show to ever exist, where this man was kept in this apartment naked with no food for 15 months, while 17 million people in Japan tuned in. It's also the subject of tonight's episode, so let's dive in. So this is called Sweepstakes Life, and it was a show in Japan in the 90s. To cast the show, a group of men were told to come to a casting office with no other information. A box with a question mark was then wheeled into the room, and each of the men had to pull an envelope. This guy, Nasubi, is the guy that gets the winning slip, and this is where his nightmare begins. He was immediately blindfolded and thrown in the back of a car, where he was brought to this apartment and told to strip. This is also where he's told that anything he needs to survive needs to be won in sweepstakes that are in those magazines, meaning he couldn't eat anything until he won it, which didn't happen for 2 weeks. He wouldn't be let out of the apartment until he won 1 million yen worth of prizes, and he had no idea it would take him over a year to do so. I'm gonna have to do another part to this story, but check out tonight's episode for more.
Like I'm dead, you killed me, I'm dead now. Shut up, Deku! Boo!
This is TikToker Claire Miller, and in 2021, she stabbed her sister to death. So back in 2021, Claire Miller was your average 14-year-old girl. She was normal, she went to school, she had friends, and she posted a lot of videos on TikTok where she accrued a small fan base. There are even still pages to this day devoted to reposting her old TikToks and sharing them. But Claire had a dark side that nobody ever noticed. And that dark side would lash out in the worst imaginable way in 2021. So Claire had an older sister named Helen. She was 19, Claire was 14, and sadly Helen had cerebral palsy, which, as you know, is a debilitating disease. But for some reason,
that makes it even worse.
In 2021, Claire snapped. She grabbed a knife inside of her house and stabbed her 19-year-old sister Helen in the neck. Claire then called the police to turn herself in and was hysterical on the phone, claiming, "I killed my sister, you need to come here now." And when authorities arrived at her house, Claire was standing out front, she was covered in blood, there was blood in the snow, and her sister was found inside of the home with a knife still inside of her neck. Wow. Authorities have gone on the record after this murder and stated how this case is so unusual because it was a sister murdering her older sister, and Claire was so young when she committed this crime. She was only 14 years old. Now, obviously, Claire's parents were horrified to find out that this had happened. They not only lost one of their daughters, but they lost their other daughter too, because she was then arrested. And even though her attorneys tried to get this case moved to juvenile court, that motion was denied. And even though after her trial it was found that Claire was mentally ill, she was sentenced to 12.5 years to 40 years in prison after a third-degree murder conviction.
Parents, I urge you, if your child is showing signs of anger, please check it at the front door, because if you don't, something like this could happen. Please. I know you believe in letting your children express themselves, but find some type of alternative, because that is not the way. Get them a punching bag or something and let them punch on it, or take them to a rec room or something and let them tear stuff up. No, you can't let it build up like that.
Normal looking photos that have a disturbing backstory. Part 29. This stroller belongs to a 4-year-old Ukrainian girl named Liza. In July of last year, she and her mother Irina were hit by a Russian missile. This is 23-year-old Ricardo Lopez. Over the course of a few months, he vlogged the entire process of making and sending a bomb to his favorite singer, Bjork. Luckily, the package was intercepted, but not before Ricardo took his life on camera. This X-ray shows an infant victim of the 1999 Brixton nail bombing. A neo-Nazi named David Copeland bombed areas across London, but miraculously, the baby survived. This photo shows 69 boys in a dormitory before it was set on fire in 1959. And while 48 of them managed to escape, 21 of them died in the flames.
That story tore me up when I heard about that.
Further, police never investigated who or what caused the fire.
I have no idea how creepy Elvis was. He liked young girls because he only wanted to sleep with virgins. Elvis was known for a lot of things, but his skills in the bedroom were not one of them. He would tell his entourage to look for women with small feet and that looked like his mother. Elvis was known for having a weird relationship with his mother. They would baby talk to each other and call each other pet names. And they slept in the same bed until he was like a late teenager. When Natalie Wood was dating Elvis, she left one of his family gatherings because he was sitting on his mother's lap the whole time and she was uncomfortable. It gets worse. He had two-way mirrors installed in his mansion so he could watch people hook up during his parties, like without them knowing. Priscilla said that once she was like sitting at a desk working on her homework because, you know, she was 14 when they started dating, and he walked over to the desk and she looked up at him and her forehead wrinkled because she was looking up at him, and he slapped her forehead and said, "Don't do that because it makes your forehead wrinkle." On top of that, once one of his girlfriends said that she was sleeping in his bed and she woke up to a bullet hitting right above her head on the headboard, and he was like, "I wanted to wake you up so you could go grab me some yogurt." I'm sorry, like, what? This is just not king energy. Like, what a loser. Also,
Okay, Elvis was on some weird stuff, but I feel like she was reaching a little bit in this. I don't know. Y'all get in the comments and let me know.
What you're about to watch is extremely disturbing, so watch at your own risk. That was a woman who earlier this month escaped her kidnapper after being held captive for the last year. As seen in the video, she made her escape to a gas station in Burlington County, New Jersey, and following close behind trying to catch her was her abductor. The woman's identity has been withheld for her safety, but her kidnapper is 57-year-old James Perillo Jr. According to authorities, the woman met James at a gas station in New Mexico in February of last year during a cross-country road trip. James told her that his name was Brett Parker and asked her for a ride to Arizona, in which she agreed. According to her, for the first month they were in a consensual relationship, but it wasn't long after that he began assaulting her. He took away her phone and debit cards and isolated her from her family. He then spent the next year holding the woman captive and traveling with her throughout the country. In the weeks before she escaped, the two had visited a gas station in New Jersey that was close to a room that James had rented out in Bass River Township. And it was there that she noticed that the store had an interior deadbolt. It was at this point that she began plotting her escape. The day she escaped, James had been beating and choking her, and she somehow broke free and made a run for it back to that gas station. It was only 42 degrees out, and she was wearing only a t-shirt and shorts with no shoes. When she got inside of the store, she immediately locked the door, and it's a really good thing she did because James was right behind her. Luckily, he didn't get in though. The woman told the attendant that she had been kidnapped and held captive for the last year and that she needed help. She had deep cuts and marks on her neck. James was caught and arrested that same day, which was February 7th. He's being held at the Burlington County Jail with no bail because, according to authorities, they found evidence online that he may have had other victims in the past. He's been charged with first-degree kidnapping, second-degree strangulation, and aggravated assault, amongst many other charges. If convicted, he faces up to 47 years in prison and a fine of nearly $500,000.
Ladies, stay safe out there, please. Oh my, that's crazy. Sheesh.
She's got to die. And I've got to die, or girls like that are going to die. And that's when I decided I'm going to murder my mother. I knew a week before she died I was going to kill her. And she went out to a party, she got soused, she came home, went to sleep. I was woken up by that, came out, I walked up to her bed, she's laying there reading a paperback, as many thousands of nights before. And she said, "Oh, I suppose you're going to want to sit up all night and talk now." Shit. I looked at her, I said, "No." I said, "Good night." And I knew I was going to kill her, you know? And I'm so cold, it's so hard. And that's the first time in 10 years I've looked at it that way. I mean, that intensely, that honestly. It hurts. Because I'm not a lizard, I'm not from under a rock. I came out of her vagina, see? Came out of my mother. And in a rage, I went right back in. For 7 years, she said, I haven't had sex with a man because of you. My murderous son is one of our arguments. I cut off her head. and I humiliated her corpse. So there.
Wow. Man, bro. This first episode that took me by surprise. I ain't gonna even lie. Let me say this though, man. This may resonate with a lot of people and it may not. How we raise our children now determines how they will be in the future. You have to find the balance. You can't be super nice and you can't be super tough because we already live in a peer pressured world. So that's already gonna be tough for the kids off top. Don't make home hard for them either, but don't make it easy either because life ain't easy. But hey, if you like what you saw, make sure you like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure you go to the Discord and join, man, and send me videos that you would like to see me react to, man. But until next time, folks.